Hi guys, welcome to our daily encounter. Yesterday we mentioned that the Gospel of John is really for the sake of faith, building up people's faith, whether it's a person who has not come to faith in Christ and giving them the necessary information that they need to accept Him for who He is, or a seasoned believer who just wants to strengthen and deepen his or her faith in Jesus Christ. And we run across this in our reading today in John chapter 2. Here we have basically two signs that would be given to attest to the fact that Jesus was who He said that He was. And they serve kind of as bookends to the ministry of Christ. The first one has to do with this wedding at Cana. Him and his disciples are attending this wedding, and they run out of wine, and Jesus' mother comes to him and tells him that, hey, we ran out of wine. And long story short, she convinces him to do something about it, and he has him fill up the water pots with water, and he turns them into wine, and it's good wine, so much so that the person overseeing the wedding is shocked at how good the wine actually is. And that miracle is ended with this statement: this beginning of His signs Jesus did in Cana of Galilee and manifested His glory, and His disciples believed in Him. So it says the beginning of His signs, and that word means attesting miracle, a miracle of testimony of who Jesus was. And this was the beginning of the attesting miracles that Jesus would perform. And so there at the very beginning, we have Jesus showing His transformational power and His ability to even control this water and make it from just plain old water, probably just water used for washing, to wonderful and delicious wine. But then we have where Jesus cleanses the temple. And for those who have been with us through Matthew, Mark, and Luke, you see that this cleansing of the temple actually happened at the end of Jesus' ministry. And scholars kind of have two different ways to approaches to understand this. Either there were two cleansings of the temple, the first Passover that Jesus attended during His ministry, and then also in the last Passover that He attended in His ministry. Maybe there were two. Or it might just be that John is bringing this miracle out kind of out of chronological order. And that would not be something out of the ordinary for a person who was giving a biography for someone who was very important to, at least in ancient times, to not necessarily be worried about getting everything in chronological order, but to kind of categorize things and put them in order as far as category goes. And if that's true, we can see that this may be just one miracle that was done at the end of Jesus' ministry, but is brought in John chapter 2 because John wants to give this last attesting miracle. And that is the resurrection of Christ. This cleansing of the temple is just a story that is used to build up to the declaration that Jesus would make that, hey, if you destroy this temple, I'll build it up in 3 days, talking about His body and alluding to His resurrection. And His resurrection would be that last attesting miracle. It would be the supreme attesting miracle that Jesus was and is who He said He was and is. And so you have both the beginning of attesting miracles for Jesus in John chapter 2 and the last one mentioned, the resurrection of Jesus. And both of those would, and really every miracle in between, would be the staple and would be the means by which the disciples would believe, as what is mentioned there in verse 11, but also that all believers could believe and recognize who Christ is because of not just these two miracles, though those are the ones mentioned in John chapter 2, but also all the other things that He did as well. But really, ultimately, that resurrection being the premier attesting miracle that Jesus was who He said He was. So right here at the beginning, we are already seeing some pointers to faith and building up faith. And so let's read John chapter 2. Of course, the other part of our readings as well, the Old Testament reading as well. But when we get to John chapter 2, let's focus on it and really take in what's being said and realize that, yeah, Jesus didn't just make a whole lot of declarative statements with nothing to back it up. He had these attesting signs and miracles that would further confirm that he was who he said he was. So with that, guys, I do thank you for watching the video today. Hope you guys have a great day. Love you guys. God bless.